Welcome back to another video. Today in this video we're talking more about the power of projects and how they can shape your life. So I've kind of broken it down into why, what and how, loosely based around there. But it's only briefly, and it's just to give an overview of why I think projects are so important. So firstly, the why. Why would you want to do a project? Now, there's lots of reasons, and I'll just list a few here, but minimizing a wandering mind. It's so easy for our heads to get into a dark space, spend lots and lots of time on the internet, doom scrolling, and allowing our minds to spiral down is a real dangerous place to be, especially if you're introvert or you're on your own. So minimizing a wandering mind. The second one is sharpening skills and making new skills. Also, you can broaden your horizons with your knowledge and possibly make new friends. You know, if you get into a night class, an evening class, things like that. It also moves your body and your mind. Like I said, away from the TV, but it moves your body. You're less likely to get stiff, and you can keep that muscle memory going of the skills that you already have, and make new muscle memory, whether you're learning the guitar, playing the drums, or being a carpenter. So muscle memory, moving that body, moving the mind, learning to control your breathing and things like that as you do these skills. It also brings like a childlike curiosity and joy into your mind, to keeping it active and sharp. That's why they say elderly people should do crosswords and keep their mind active so as not to end up being more mentally challenged than you expect. Okay, so then we've also got an equilibrium and balance in your life. It's also a humbling and able to give you sometimes a completely different perspective. All right, what kind of projects? Well, elderly neighborhood gardening, helping your neighbors, travel photography, build up a portfolio, and increase your skills there. You may want to monetize that at one point. Maybe do the 3-peak challenge, those 3 mountains that everybody goes on about: Ben Nevis, Scaffold Pike, and Snowdon, which I did a few years back. No, 2 years back. Learn a new language. That can always be helpful. You always want to know what somebody's talking about you in another language. So learn another language. So many skills that are sharpened by language learning. Your brain is never too old to learn that new language. Maybe take up beekeeping. That always seems interesting to me. Plus you get that honey, keeps you busy, makes you responsible for something else. Maybe volunteer for the National Trust. You can help maintain some of the woodlands and maybe spend some time in going around and enjoying some of the properties in the gardens. And help the country as a whole, because the National Trust invests the money back into the property they guardian for or look after. Learn to knit. It doesn't have to be gender specific, but learning to knit can be an interesting skill for dexterity. What else we got? Building a hot tub. Hot tubs seem to be really popular. Some people want to build their own and, put a fire under it. Creative skills gets you doing something. Maybe even add some value to your property or to where you're staying. What else we got? Cycling east to west of your country or north to south. Lots of people do that, whether for charity or for your own choice. That's always a good one. Build a polytunnel. Start growing your own veg. That's always a popular idea. I've always fancied doing that when I get some land. Imagine that, eating the food that you've grown yourself. It's got to be brilliant. Give a speech. Maybe at a primary school, give a speech about something you know about. Especially if you can get connected and involved, sharing with the community, especially like children. So I, for example, did a speech many years ago for sign language in my daughter's school. And I thought I would just have a class of children, but it turned out to be most of the school and all the teachers as well. I was quite nervous, but I just blanked out all the adults and just engaged with the children and had a lot of fun and taught them so much. And surprisingly, how much they already knew. So yeah, give a speech. Make your own beer. So many men, not me, but so many men love making their own beer. Not just because it's cheaper, but also it's interesting, and making different varieties. So there's so many different things you can do. If you just get a little bit creative and put your mind to it, you can do so much. All right, but now moving on to the next part, more like we've done a why and we've done a what, but this is sort of a how or I don't know, maybe more of a conclusion. But so doing a project not just makes you a wiser man and gives you more perspective and keeps your body moving and learning skills and keeps your brain active. All these great things really help with your life in later years. But also, life is kind of measured often in chapters. And the quality of time given to those chapters and to yourself and to others is much more better of a quantitative measure, or qualitative measure rather. And also you can look at that in regards to your memories, solidifying and remembering the emotional connections that you make with people, especially in the final chapter of your life. As the final curtain draws near, you would be much more balanced and content that you've had this growth in your life, continuous growth, continuous curiosity, if you will, for improving yourself as a man. And when I say about being humble, learning new skills and being naive and childish again, every time you learn a new skill in a different genre, let's say, you're learning to be childlike and humble that you don't know, and you accept that you don't know, and you keep learning. Many people that are wise and elderly will say that they are always learning. And then the last point is true content is happiness. So think about the poles. You've got sadness at one end, happiness in the other. You can't be constantly happy or constantly sad. Well, unless you're depressed and unless you're manic maniac in the other. But generally, for most people, the middle of the road there is content. And another word for content would be fulfilled. So your life is fulfilled with the amount of chapters and projects and connectivity and curiosity and balance. Then you are much more likely to be at ease as you get older with less regrets. So being content and fulfilled is no shortcomings, it's a real solid foundation for having a good life. So much better than being a bystander and allowing life happen to you and being a victim. If you go out and you do things and you choose to not be a victim, make your life valuable and important by injecting in projects, connecting with people and connecting with nature and doing what you want to do, then you're not a bystander and you will feel so much more contentment and satisfied in your life, especially in your later years. So now comes the call to action, the CTA. This is where I ask you. So I want to ask you, please hit that subscribe button and the notification button, because so many of my subscribers don't do any of that and they don't get to see the new videos. So it would really help me and the algorithm to be able to see that you're maybe getting some value out of this. Hopefully you do. So please hit that bell icon, like and subscribe. Also, tell me what project you're involved at the moment, how projects have helped develop you and change your mindset and keep you moving forward. I'd really like to know. Let me know in the comments about your projects. All right, that's it for this week. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.